Shalom, Hebrews. This is a message from the Israelite Brotherhood. Okay, Hebrews, there's a lot going on today. And we know that, these peoples that got us in captivity got some serious biological diseases and warfare that they can unleash. And I'm here to tell you that we was told before we broke covenant that the Creator, would let the plagues of Egypt get us. And we know in history, as recorded by our enemies themselves, how they manufactured biological warfare to unleash on the populations that they was against. Now, we know that when our enemies concoct up these diseases and viruses, that the sole intent is that they will settle in on the Israelite community, the people that's called African Americans. Now, we know that we are waking up in vast numbers, and that, Israelites is waking up everywhere. And the thing is, the Hebrews are waking up without even correct history, but they know that they Israelites, and that's a miracle itself. Okay, our enemies who got us in captivity got a long history of waging terror, illness, infections, and diseases on populations that they are in opposition against. And I can show that the people that got control of this country, as well as got control of us Israelites, and been having control of us Israelites since the transatlantic slave trade, that they've been, unleashing these biological warfares, and I can show that they got the history of doing this. That's like the Hittites. I explain in a lot of videos how the Hittites gonna be Cain descendants mixed with the Amorites, or with the Canaanites. But how did they try to say that the Hittites are descended from the Canaanite tribes? And that's false, because if you look into non-history, we don't have them listed up under the Canaanite tribes, and that's for a reason. And the Canaanites probably, where they did mix with the Cain descendants, the people that you will see in Tanakh history that don't have a name listed with Noah's sons, Shem, Ham, and Japhet. And how did these names pop up with peoples pop up that like the Horites and so forth, and Sir, and all those nations and peoples. Back then nations were named after individuals. Well, those individuals wasn't listed with Noah's sons, and those going to be Cain descendants. And if you notice that all those people that wasn't listed with Noah's sons are descended from Noah's sons, are basically gonna be some bad peoples that do all kind of wicked things in that Canaanite culture that we Israelites supposed to had extinguished, was connected to that. Pure wickedness. And these peoples unleash biological warfare on their enemies and stuff. And I'm just gonna show a little history. This is not gonna be a long video, but you see the Scythians, and I'm gonna show you, Hebrews, who the Scythians is. You know what I'm saying? Man, the Scythians, they would in equity in the ancient past. They got it recorded that the Scythians would dip their arrows in rotten bodies and feces tinted blood as far back as 400 BC. But I'm here to tell you that it go back farther than that, because us Hebrews was chased out the promised land by those Scythians. And Scythian is just another name for Ashkenazi. But how that they would, use biological or warfare and stuff on their enemies and stuff, and they kind of like the starters of that mess. They gonna try to say that it go back way back in the ancient times, but the Greeks did it. The Greeks would use all kind of diseases and stuff to drive their enemies away and to conquer their enemies and stuff. And also, you know, the most important place would be Turkey, the Hittites. Now, they say that the Hittites was real bad with that. And all these peoples right here that I'm naming, the Scythians and the Hittites, all those are going to be connected to our enemies and how our enemies made it with them and they become one. And we can see how Ashkenazi, you know, Ashkenazi, man, is going to be, man, up under the Caucasus Mountain. You know, Turkey and the Caucasus Mountain is kind of like, you know, the Turkey is at the foot of the Caucasus Mountain. And then how that the Caucasus Mountain is where Ashkenazi, the Scythians, hung out at. And them gonna be the folks with the diseases. They'll take their diseases and package it and then put it on other folks and stuff. And then they had underground cities and stuff like laboratories where germs and all kind of stuff grow, and then they'll take them germs and that biological warfare, and then they'll go unleash it on the other peoples, on the pigmented populations. And then how that they would take infected sheeps and infected sheep. Now they got diseases back then that could transfer over from animals to humans. And then how that they would take some infected sheeps, the Hittites did, and the Hittites and Ashkenazi all become one. You know what I'm saying? They all become one. And then how that the Hittites will take some infected sheeps and then turn them loose in your town, at the edge of your town, and then here comes some hungry individual come along and think he done stumbled up on a prize, or somebody done left their sheep and he done snatched them. Now he done took the sheep off into the city and then infected everybody's sheep. Now everybody's sick and dying, and then the Hittites will come invade and wipe you out. That's how they did it. Well, they done perfected the art of doing that type of mess now, and they do it for population control and for all kind of reasons. But like I say, because we Israelites are waking up to our heritage that our enemies create these diseases, knowing that we in poverty and that we are, man, we got bad health from eating terrible foods since the slavery days. Pork, seafood, shrimps, lobsters, crabs, all the scavengers in the water, they done train our peoples to eat, so they gonna be susceptible to all kind of diseases. And one of the main diseases in the scriptures that the Creator say will be on us as a curse is inflammation. And if you look at the majority of these diseases and viruses that our enemies be unleashing, they cause inflammation. All right, but look here, let's go look and see what the Hittites, man, awful, man, how them folks would take some germs and then put it on some folks, put it on whole cities and towns and people. And then we, as Hebrew Israelites, if we would have followed the covenant, would none of this stuff be going on? Would none of this stuff be going on? If we had followed the covenant and did what we supposed to have did, we would have stopped all this stuff from taking place, because all this stuff is basically rooted in the Canaanite culture, and that culture extended from Egypt all the way to Mesopotamia. But look what it says. They were not only used as weapon of killing in war due to their natural venom, but they also served as vessels for diseases and plagues. In the region that is now Turkey, the ruling Hittite purposefully left infected sheep outside enemy cities in 1325 BC. You know what I'm saying? We was just coming up out of Egypt, getting into the promised land. Look, the sheep carried tularemia, known as rabbit fever, a dangerous disease which remains incurable today, which the locals ate the sheep or bred them with their own stock. The infection spread like wildfire, killing many. and weakened population. You know what I'm saying? And then them folks that come in and raid and take over the whole nation. And this is back when we was getting free from Egypt and going into the promised land and fighting against our enemies, and how that them folks would man perfect biological warfare. But let's look at some of these curses in the Tanakh history, and we'll know that all things, because the Creator, good and evil. You know what I'm saying? He gonna produce some good and evil, and the evil is gonna be when we Israelites broke the covenant and was told that all these things would be on us. All right, if we go to let's go to Leviticus 26. This is a message from the Israelite Brotherhood. That's a message from the Israelite Brotherhood. We got to know that all, and plus unrighteous living to bring them diseases and stuff down on you too, that our enemies created, because you're going to be right around they wickedness and evilness if you doing the evilness and wickedness. That's like the majority of the folks, men, that just be eating anything that the enemies say eat. Man, you gonna look at their mentality and how they function, man. They gonna be kind of wild and stuff, where they gonna be around all them problems that our enemies created with these diseases and stuff. All these diseases is new to the world and stuff. It's gonna be because our enemies, manufactured them and stuff, and know how to unleash them on people. That's like this new disease that they got. Man, it's spread all around the world real fast. And they try to say that it's from China. But, it look like that they might be unleashing that stuff from airplanes. They done killed a couple of folks talking about them chemtrails. Them people that they killed might have not known exactly what they was talking about, and probably was in the area and stuff. But I believe because that stuff spread around so fast, this new infection that they unleashing on the population, that they doing it by airplane and all kind of ways. Man, our enemies is evil, and like I say, they got a history of doing this. All right, if you go to Leviticus 26:16, and it says, I also will do this unto you. I will even appoint over you terror, consumption, and the burning agony that shall consume the eyes and cause sorrow of heart, and ye shall sow your seed in vain, for your enemy shall eat. But, that the Creator, the diseases our enemies will be able to put on us, will be vulnerable because we won't have no protection. All right, let's go to Deuteronomy 20:28. That's where them curses at. We know it's gonna be some curses that show, about the diseases and stuff that our enemies put on us. And then if you go to Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 22, and it says, the Elohim shall smite thee with consumption, and with a fever, and with inflammation, and with an extreme burning, and with the sword, and with blasting, and with mildew, and they shall pursue thee until thou perish. All right, how about the majority of these infections and stuff that our enemies be producing, man, they cause inflammation. And like I just showed that back in history, that they showed that Ashkenazi under the name Scythian, that how that they done perfected that stuff, biological warfare, and how that they would take the they enemies who they done killed, how they'll take they blood and dip it in arrows and use it on the people. And then how that they'll take, I show you in one of the videos how that Ashkenazi, that when they come get you, that, when they killed you, that they tied your head onto their horses and rode around with it and stuff. They'll ride around after they killed you. And Ashkenazi come into our heritage with the Chaldeans under the name Scythian. It's one of the quietest kept history. That's like one of the quietest kept history that you ain't gonna find no documentation on. And how our enemies left out is that the Hebrews, after breaking covenant, were chased into Africa by Ashkenazi, and how Ashkenazi used those techniques on us. And then I just read to you how Ashkenazi used poison arrows with feces and with blood and with everything on it. And then I'm showing that how Ashkenazi used their arrows and stuff. I got a video showing how Ashkenazi used their arrowheads and how their arrowheads is found all over Jerusalem, everywhere. You know, Scythian arrowheads found all over the promised land. And then, you know, that's a fact. You know, I got a video explaining how Ashkenazi arrowheads is found all over the promised land. I had some pictures of it. I guess, you know, you'd have to go look in that video and stuff. But Ashkenazi would shoot the promised land up with crossbows. And they would have blood and feces and use biological warfare to drive us Israelites off the promised land during the Babylonian wars. And how I got videos showing that all the tribes, all the Israelites besides that little 1% that was captured and took it to Babylon, and how everybody else ran into Africa. Well, it was these folks that was using the biological warfare against us during the Babylonian wars. And how did they settle in the promised land and settled in Scythopolis? That's ancient Beth Shean. That's in the northern kingdom. And how Ashkenazi would be called Scythian in history, and how that they would get our heritage also, and how that they use biological warfare. And that's how it's mostly gonna be in their hands, the whole war machinery, and us in captivity, and the people that's holding us in captivity, and the power that they have. They gonna be responsible for the whole war machine of the whole Western civilization. They control, I don't care what country, if they are non-pigmented people and they use Ashkenazi currency, the dollar, or anything associated with it. And we know that the European nations are all allied with each other, and that they very rarely fight each other unless they fighting over some territory to go get some old folks. Well, them folks are in control right now, and Ashkenazi, the Rothschilds is of the Ashkenazi stock, and we know that them folks is creating all type of biological warfare, and we know that how that they got secret societies geared toward this and achieving this, and how that they even got the so-called celebrities promoting mass genocide on the population, to where they want to reduce the population to just a few people, and how that they got holes and shelters to run in and hide in when they unleash all this stuff on the population. But they plan is, because we Israelites finna come into our power, and that this country is finna collapse. The United States basically over with, and so we can look forward to them releasing all type of plagues. But if you believe in Almighty Yah, and you worship and pray to Almighty Yah, then you got a shield. You got a shield, and you know, like the Creator say in the scriptures, no weapon formed against us Israelites shall prosper, or even be effective against us. And we know that since we've been in captivity, that our enemies none tried all kind of stuff on us. That's like the Tuskegee Institute. Now, how can we trust a government, and we can't, you know, anybody walking around that's an Israelite or a so-called African American that believe that these folks it got our best interests at hand? It is crazy and delusional, because we know about the Tuskegee Institute and a whole bunch of things that they did in the past where they infected Hebrews and followed them around just to watch and see what had happened to them, and how that they, been doing this for a long time, and how that they done got so secret with it that you don't know when they doing it and where they doing it at, and how that it's science, but that science go back to the ancient days, and this stuff was really geared towards us. When we broke covenant is when all that biological warfare stuff kind of broke out with our enemies. And then if you look at the time when the Hittites start unleashing their biological warfare on populations and stuff, we was in the Exodus mode, and we hadn't really completed our heritage, got our land and started to put our heritage down, and how we basically didn't get that done until King David come in. And that's why King David is beloved, and that was during the 10 BC, around by 1010 BC, or something like that. But during the 1300 BC, that's gonna be dealing with Joshua, and then and after Joshua's death during the judge days, and we had a hard time, and man, we was enslaved, and we was going through all type of tragedies and stuff, and it come from us not following the covenant. And that's when the Hittites start, unleashing biological warfare on populations and stuff. All right, Hebrews, let's look at some more of this. All right, so we know that the Creator said that, that inflammation and fever, that's one of the main parts of the other infections, and that you will have here. Is one of the main infections fever, inflammation. All they diseases gonna be basically the same. And all right, if you go to Deuteronomy 27, 28, chapter 28, verse 27, the Elohim will smite thee with the botch of Egypt, and with emeralds, and with scabs, and with the itch whereupon thou cannot be healed. And some of this stuff you can't be healed from. We can't be healed from because we don't have the resources to get the proper treatment and get some healing and so forth. So it's just like the scriptures say. And then if you go to Deuteronomy 28:35, and it'll say, the Elohim will smite thee in the knees and in the legs, and sore botch that cannot be healed, and from the sole of thy feet unto the top of thy head. So we know this is curses and stuff that, when we come in contact with these diseases that just magically just appear out of nowhere and just get us in the so-called African American community and stuff, that be them curses that the Creator said, be on the Hebrews. But Hebrews, our enemies are the producers of these diseases and illness, infections that just break out on the population and stuff. And how that they using biological warfare and stuff, and they use that as a form of terror, and they'll do it at any time and at any place. And like I say, that the majority of these diseases that's being dropped on the population, and they hope and pray that it settle in on the Israelite community, and that we get devastated by it. That's how it is with all these diseases. They'll show some non-pigmented faces and how it affect them in the beginning. But if you look at the real picture, we Israelites be the ones that be suffering behind it. Shalom. Stay prayed up and pray to Almighty Yah. That's all we got. You know what I'm saying? Far as protection, and that's all you can do is turn to Almighty Yah and pray that these heathens, diseases and tools of destruction don't settle in on you. This is a message from the Israelite Brotherhood.